It started awfully, to say, just like any courtship would, very slowly, very playful.
The Justice for Children Advocacy Center provides a single, safe, child-friendly place for children who have been physically or sexually abused. Here they can receive medical examinations, forensic interviews, advocacy, and counseling services. The Justice for Children Advocacy Center sees fragile children at their most vulnerable moments, and in those moments starts the process of healing.
A lot of the kids that we see, they have no power, no control anywhere else in their life. You know, they're victims of some pretty terrible things. But when they come here, you know, they have choices.
And one of the first kids that we saw and that I saw was a child who she had been hurt by her uncle. She was not very clear about that because one of the first questions I had asked her was why she was here. And she wasn't sure why she was here. And I asked her, are you worried about anything? She said, yes. And I said, what? And she said, this exam. And then all of a sudden, when I turned around to do some other work and talk to the nurse, she bolted out of the room and she ran out of the CAC. And she was not found for about 45 minutes to an hour. Police went out looking for her. So when she came back after having run away, we talked some more. We made an agreement that we'll do this another time, only when you're ready to do this. And she came back 2 days later when she was ready to do it. We did the exam, and after it was over, she just felt like a new person. You could even see in her face that she was actually beginning a healing process because she did what she needed to do to take control of her life.
They're made to feel that they're important and that people care about them.
We had one uncle who permanently lived at our home. And when I was about 7, he began to molest me.
Child sexual abuse in the United States is rather significant. And it's not just in the United States, but the figures are 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys before they reach adulthood are traumatized or sexually abused.
Before advocacy centers were started, kids were shuffled from agency to agency, depending on the needs of the adults.
It's been a paradigm shift in the way that systems react to the issue of child physical and sexual abuse. It's now the child that's at the center of this, driving the whole process and the child's needs, as opposed to the system's needs.
You know, when you walk in the door, it looks like a house. There's toys, it's quiet, it's not an office building, it's not, you know, a police station.
The Child Advocacy Center started about 1985, essentially because we were traumatizing these children, the system was.
Before the Child Advocacy Center, we would have to take children out of county for medical services, and that would be through an emergency room, either in Buffalo or Rochester. It was a very long process.
In the past, where a child might have to go to one location for a medical exam, a second location for a forensic interview, a third location for advocacy services, and a fourth location for counseling, we now have all of those things and more in one location.
He would open the door, I would walk in, he would kind of time it perfectly. It wasn't a long time, so it wasn't an hour, but throughout a day, it could be 3 or 4 times.
Here, you have a homely setting, a setting that is comfortable for the child. The child can relax, the family members can relax. And you know, when you have the parent or the guardian who's watching over that child, when they're relaxed, that sort of helps the child to relax too, or that victim, making them more comfortable to disclose what actually happened to them.
It is very important for us to have the ability to observe forensic interviews for a number of reasons. It gives us the ability to hear what happened firsthand from the child. It gives us the ability to offer suggestions during breaks to the interviewer as far as possible additional questions that we might like to see asked. And maybe most importantly, it has the potential to cut down on the number of times that a child is being interviewed.
it can re-victimize that child, having to relive those details. And it's not uncommon for a child to finally say, I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
9 months from now or a year from now, everything that you did and everything that you said is going to be played back to a jury. So we want to make sure that we're doing it right. Well, if we can get a forensic interviewer to do that one aspect of it, that's a lot easier for us. It's a win-win. It's a win for the victim, and it's a win for the police.
I think once he figured out that he had me under his control, all he would have to do was open the door.
I truly believe that if you can make a difference in the life of one child on one day, they might be able to carry that through. They might be able to think, somebody really, really did care about me. They didn't care that this bad stuff had happened to me. They saw me for me. And I think sometimes that kids forget that there really are people out there that care about them.
He would always threaten that nobody would believe me, that my parents would send me away to Puerto Rico, that I would embarrass the family because I was a liar, and that everybody would believe him because he was a good man.
We can't change what has happened to them so far, but if we can change what happens to them from now on and make it safe for them and help them and their families, then that's what the center is all about.
It's not just a given that kids are going to get over this. It's very important that they understand that it's not their fault, that they're given the support that they need, whether it be in the form of counseling or assistance in school, because it's really hard to focus on school.
I used to visit. They live in Miami still, and I never wanted to be at the house. I would go to the beach. I would stay at a hotel. That's a no-no with our family. You visit family, you stay with the family. But I could not bear to sit in my mother's living room that looks exactly the same as it did when I was a kid, and see that door, and see that doorknob still there. Imagine sitting there, and all of a sudden, this flash comes before you of something happened. You know it happened. You can feel it. You can sense it. You can taste it. And then your mom says, hey, it's dinner time. Who wants to eat? Who wants to be there?
Like with any trauma, the effects of sexual abuse are a lifelong thing. When somebody goes through a traumatic life event, there's no way to erase it. But with the proper support, people can be empowered to build strengths that they might not have had prior to victimizations.
All the kids are worth saving. They didn't ask for this. None of them ever asked for this. So if we can make a difference, then, that's what we're here for.